Welcome back to Cozy English Corner. I am Alex, your host, and I am looking out the window right now at a very gray, very unpredictable Columbus, Ohio sky. It dropped about 20 degrees since yesterday. That is the Midwest for you. You need a winter coat in the morning and a t-shirt by lunch.
It really is. I walked into the office today shivering, and by the time I left for this interview, the sun was almost too bright. Hello, everyone. I am Harper.
Harper, I am so glad you are here. For our listeners, Harper is a human resources director here in Columbus. She watches people communicate for a living.
That is exactly what I do. I sit in interviews, I manage team conflicts, and I watch how people connect, or fail to connect, every single day.
And today, we are talking about a specific failure to connect. We are talking about reactions. Imagine this. Your friend says, "I finally got the job," and you just stare at them with no expression.
We call that the sleepy potato face. No reaction, just a long blank blink. And the other person immediately wonders, do they even care about me?
This is a massive pain point for English learners. I hear it all the time. They know the grammar perfectly, but they go home and stare at the ceiling at night, worrying that their American colleagues think they are cold or unfriendly.
Exactly, Alex. It is a terrible feeling. You have all this warmth and empathy inside you, but because you do not know the right small phrases to react, the language barrier traps your personality.
It traps your personality. That is a powerful way to say it. If someone shares personal news and you reply with a robotic, "I see," you just killed the connection.
Especially here in Ohio, Midwestern friendliness is a real thing. People expect a warm, active response. If you do not give it, they might assume you are upset with them.
Right. So today we are giving our listeners a toolbox to break out of that trap. We are going to learn how to react naturally to good news, bad news, and surprising news.
Before we get into the phrases, can I share a quick psychological fact that completely changed how I view this?
Please do. I love the science behind communication.
Neuroscience shows that our brains process the tone of voice and emotional reactions up to 10 times faster than we process actual vocabulary. It involves mirror neurons in the brain.
Wait, really? So before I even understand the words you are saying, my brain has already judged if you care about me based on your initial reaction?
Exactly. That is why a quick, "oh no," or "wow," matters so much. It signals safety and empathy to the other person's brain before the logical conversation even starts.
That is incredible. It perfectly proves our first rule today. Your reaction must match the feeling of the news. Good news requires a happy reaction. Bad news requires a soft, sad reaction.
It sounds obvious, but many language learners use the exact same word for everything. Often, that word is really.
Yes, I bought a house. Really? I broke my arm. Really? It is grammatically correct, but emotionally it is exhausting for the other person.
So let us build a better toolbox. Let us start with good news. If someone shares a success, what are the best standard American English phrases to use?
A great starting point is simply, "Wow, that's great." It is warm, it is standard, and it fits almost any positive situation.
Adding value. Another very common one is, "That's awesome." You hear this constantly in American offices. Or, if it is a personal achievement, "Good for you."
I really like "good for you." Let us practice. Harper, I will tell you some good news and you react.
"I am ready. Give me the news."
I finally saved enough money to buy a new car.
"Wow, that's great. Good for you."
That felt so natural. The energy matched the news. Now, what happens when the news is highly surprising?
If it is unexpected, you can use "really?" But you must say it with real surprise. You cannot say it with a flat voice.
Right. A flat, really? Sounds like you doubt them. It sounds like you are saying, "I do not believe you."
Exactly. To avoid that danger entirely, I recommend saying, "No way," or "You're kidding." They mean, "I cannot believe this is true," but in a fun, positive way.
Let us test that. Harper, my quiet accountant neighbor, used to be the lead singer of a rock band.
No way. You're kidding.
Perfect. You sound like a native speaker having a real conversation at a coffee shop in the short north.
It is all about the energy. But Alex, we also need to talk about bad news. This is where people get really nervous.
They do, because reacting to bad news in a second language feels like walking through a minefield. You do not want to say the wrong thing and offend someone who is hurting.
If a coworker says, "My dog is very sick," and you say, "That's awesome," you have created a disaster. For bad news, you need soft, gentle reactions.
The safest and most common is a simple, gentle, "Oh no."
Yes, and to make it even more caring, you can add, "I'm sorry to hear that," or "That's too bad."
Let us practice the bad news. I will give you a scenario. Harper, I did not get the promotion I applied for.
"Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. That is really tough."
Notice how our voice dropped, the volume became softer, the pace slowed down. English is not just grammar, it is vocal energy.
Exactly. And this brings us to rule number 2, which is completely critical if you want to keep a conversation going. After the reaction, ask a follow-up question.
Yes, do not just drop a reaction and run away. If you just say, "Wow," and stop, the silence feels very awkward.
It is like throwing a ball and walking off the field. A good reaction requires passing the conversation back. "Wow, that's great. When do you start?"
Or if the news is bad, "Oh no, are you okay?" Reaction first, question second.
Let us do a role play to show how smooth this feels. I will share some news. Try to give me a natural reaction and a question.
Bring it on.
"Alex, I just found out my brother is getting married next fall."
No way, that is awesome. Where are they having the wedding?
See how good that feels? I feel heard. And now I have a reason to keep talking about something I am excited about.
And notice how I used standard, simple vocabulary. I did not need complex academic words to be a great conversationalist.
That is the secret of fluency. Fluency is not just knowing 10,000 words. It is knowing exactly how to use 20 simple words to connect deeply with another human being.
Wow, that might be the quote of the episode. So we have matched the emotion and we have added a follow-up question. What is the next level?
The next level is the advanced 3-step pattern that native speakers use all the time. Reaction, comment, question. We add a middle step.
Reaction, comment, question. Break that down for us.
Sure. The reaction shows immediate feeling. The comment shows empathy or validation. The question keeps the conversation moving.
Can you give me an example with good news?
If someone says, "I got a promotion," you say, "Wow, that's great." That is the reaction. You worked really hard for that. That is the comment. When do you start the new role? That is the question.
That feels incredibly warm. It shows you actually see their effort, not just the final result. That builds real trust.
And trust is what we are missing when people act like sleepy potatoes. How about we try the 3-step pattern for a stressful situation?
Okay, let us say a colleague tells you, "My laptop crashed the night before my big presentation."
I would say, "Oh no." Reaction, "That sounds incredibly stressful." Comment, "Were you able to recover your files?" Question,
That phrase, "that sounds stressful," is magical. Using "that sounds" plus an emotion is the ultimate tool for empathy in English.
It truly is. That sounds exhausting. That sounds frustrating. That sounds exciting. It shows the person that you are stepping into their shoes.
So to recap the tools we have so far, we match the emotion, we stop overusing "really," we use "wow, that's great," "no way," or "oh no," and we build up to reaction, comment, question.
Perfect summary. But Alex, there is one final rule that makes native speakers sound natural. and it is about the size of the reaction.
The size of the reaction? Explain what you mean by that.
Not every piece of news requires high energy. If someone says, "I bought a new coffee mug," and you scream, "Wow, no way! That is amazing!" You sound terrifying.
That is so true. Small news requires a small reaction. Big news requires a big reaction.
Exactly. For small daily things, a simple, "Oh, nice," or "Ah, that makes sense," is perfectly fine. Save the big energy for big moments.
This is so helpful. We are giving our listeners a complete emotional map for English conversations. They do not have to guess anymore.
And the goal is not to perform. The goal is to let your true empathy shine through clearly so people see the real you.
Harper, thank you so much for joining us in the Cozy English Corner today. Your HR insight was invaluable.
It was my pleasure, Alex. Stay warm out there in the Columbus snow.
I will try. And to all our listeners, practice these phrases out loud. Do not just read them, speak them with feeling. We will see you in the next episode.